It was the last day to submit college applications. Out of nowhere, Ethan suddenly changed his application to the same university as the popular girl, Summer. One of his friends teased, "What about your little childhood sweetheart? Didn't you two agree 6 years ago to apply to Harbin together?" Ethan seemed to just remember that. After a pause, he replied nonchalantly, "Oh, Lily? It's fine. She has my account info. Once she sees I changed my application, she'll change hers too. It's not like she can live without me anyway." I was silent for a long time. Quietly, I walked away, pretending I hadn't heard a thing. That day, I didn't log into the system again. I didn't change my application to follow him. What Ethan didn't know was that just as he was willing to travel across the country for summer, I, too, had a sky I wanted to fly toward. And the dream I had poured countless days and nights into chasing was never just for him. His words left me frozen, nearly forgetting how to breathe. Getting into Harbin Institute of Technology together was a promise we made right when we started middle school. During the application period, both our families even sat down together, carefully discussed everything, and solemnly filled out the forms. But now he had changed his choice, without saying a word to me. In the private room of the restaurant, a friend asked curiously, "How do you know Lily would check your application again? What if she didn't even notice?" Ethan responded like it was a joke, casually saying, "Just one glance? I know her. She probably checks it 800 times a day, terrified she might mess up and end up in a different major than me." He let out a slightly helpless sigh. "You wouldn't get it. If you had a clingy shadow trailing after you every day since you were little, you'd understand." The room erupted with laughter. One friend finally seemed to get it, but still wasn't convinced. Even if she noticed, how can you be so sure Lily would change her application at the last minute to follow you? Ethan looked up from his game, scoffed, and said, "Come on. Since she was born, Lily's never been away from me for more than a week. If she's not going to college with me, who else would she go with?" Another friend couldn't help chiming in. "No offense, Ethan, but that was kind of messed up. You couldn't at least tell her you changed your application?" Ethan's fingers paused on the screen, and he looked a little irritated. "I really did forget, and honestly, it's exhausting to explain everything. If she found out I changed my choice because of Summer, she'd definitely freak out." He added, "Besides, I didn't just change it for no reason. Summer said she was nervous about going to the South alone. She said she'd only feel safe if a close friend went with her." Everyone in the room paused for a moment, as if silently understanding. "Yeah," one of them said. "Summer's a total knockout, and with her family situation, it's natural to want to protect her. Unlike your little puppy dog Lily," another one snorted. "Always covered in dust and only knows how to study. Compared to Summer, she's really not that interesting." "Zeke even gave up his dream of studying aerospace for her," someone added. "Gotta hand it to you, Ethan. Real soft spot for a damsel in distress." The room filled with teasing laughter and the noise of video games. But outside that door, I felt like I'd fallen into a pit of ice. I clenched my hands tightly, wanting to barge in and scream at Ethan, demanding an explanation. But my legs felt like they were filled with lead. I couldn't take a single step. I stood there silently for who knows how long. In the end, I couldn't summon the courage. I just turned around and walked away in silence, dazed and broken. Only after locking myself in my room did the tears I had held back finally pour out without restraint. Ethan's words echoed in my head, every word ringing clear. I still couldn't understand how he could give up on the aerospace dream he had loved since childhood. We had worked so hard for so many years, finally earning the scores we needed to get into the program we both dreamed of. Just a moment before walking into that restaurant, I had still been stupidly happy, thinking we were one step closer to achieving that dream together. But I never imagined that the future I had fought so hard to build for the two of us could be thrown away by him so easily, for someone else's one simple sentence. And even if he was going to change it, how could he not even tell me? Was he really that afraid I'd cling to him? If he was so afraid I'd cling to him, then what did that kiss under the starry sky on my 18th birthday mean? The one he initiated, cautiously but willingly. That moment when our hearts felt like exposed ribs brushing against each other, Was that nothing? Was it just a drunken impulse I misunderstood as something serious? It felt like something inside me suddenly snapped. Truthfully, I never had to follow Ethan. From kindergarten, we went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school. Everyone, including Ethan himself, just took it for granted that I'd always be with him, that we'd never be apart. But no one knew that. Aside from my dependence on him, I had my own reason for wanting to go to that school. A reason that had nothing to do with Ethan. Even if he didn't go, I still would have chosen it for myself. I shut the laptop I'd opened without thinking, not wanting to look at the application system again. And I had no intention of changing my choice just for him. If he could travel across the country for the campus bell, then I also had a sky I longed to reach. Since we each had our own paths ahead, there was no need to dwell on the past anymore. Once I came to terms with that, everything seemed to fall into place. It wasn't the end of the world. My mom was right. People have to learn to grow up on their own. As for that kiss, I'll just chalk it up to being bitten by a stray dog on the street. I had just splashed cold water on my face to calm down when Ethan video called me. My brain hesitated, but my finger reacted out of habit and answered. "Lily, why aren't you here yet? Everyone's already here. We're just waiting on you to start dinner. Why are you dragging your feet so much?" After the college entrance exams, Ethan and a group of his close childhood friends had planned a rotation of dinner parties to relax. Tonight was Ethan's turn to host. But I no longer wanted to go. "I'm not coming. You guys go ahead and eat." I hadn't even finished speaking when I heard a deliberately hushed, feminine voice in the background. "Ethan, is Lily not coming? Maybe she's not too happy about me joining your little circle." Before Ethan could respond, a few guys quickly chimed in, eager to please. "What? No way. We're honored the campus queen would even show up. Lily's just a bit possessive, that's all. She throws a fit whenever any girl gets close to Ethan. We're used to it." I saw Summer's delicate profile appear in Ethan's camera, very close to him. She spoke softly, trying to sound considerate. "Ethan, maybe I should leave. I don't want to put you in a tough spot." Ethan's expression changed instantly. He turned and reached out to stop her. "You're not going anywhere, Summer. Lily's being weird today. If she doesn't want to come, then forget her. Let's start eating." Then, coldly and without waiting for a reply, Ethan ended the call. I was fuming. Without thinking, I blocked him. From childhood till now, this was the first real fight we'd ever had. And I blocked him because of Summer. Ever since Summer transferred to our school in our junior year, I'd lost count of how many exceptions Ethan had made for her. Maybe guys really do prefer girls who are delicate and pretty. Back when I was a mess, always buried in textbooks, Summer never once let herself go. She got up early every day to apply subtle makeup. She always looked polished, always charming. Because of Summer, Ethan and I had argued countless times. We had cold wars that seemed to go on forever. I even convinced myself he liked her and made up my mind to let him go. I tried distancing myself from him several times. But every time, Ethan would come find me, repeatedly reassuring me, "What are you thinking? Summer's just a classmate. Nothing more. Don't overthink it." He'd tell me, "She's got a tough situation at home. I'm just helping her out. Some of the others act nice to her face but judge her behind her back." I believed Ethan. Summer's family situation really was complicated, so I tried not to mind how close they were becoming. Besides, Ethan had never lied to me before. And he had told me himself, he didn't like her. I believed him. But without me even realizing it, Ethan and Summer started sharing more and more things I didn't know about. And now, he had even casually changed his college application for her. That just made everything about me look even more ridiculous. A storm of tangled thoughts filled my head until a WeChat notification snapped me back. "Lily, you've got some nerve blocking me. Just wait till you get home." It was Ethan, messaging me using one of his friend's accounts out of anger. Without a second thought, I blocked that friend's account too. I glanced at the time, packed up quickly, and headed to school. It was the final day for submitting college applications. Our homeroom teacher had asked us to gather one last time for some final instructions. Traffic was heavy, and by the time I arrived, Ethan and Summer were already in the classroom. The seat next to Ethan was mine, but Summer had comfortably taken it. When she saw me walking in, she didn't even pretend to get up. Her eyes sparkled with smug satisfaction. Ethan acted like he didn't notice anything. His expression was cold, and he turned his head away as if he were waiting for me to lower my pride and make peace with him. But I wouldn't. Honestly, I no longer wanted to sit next to Ethan anyway. I looked around the room, then walked straight to the empty seat beside my best friend, Leah, far away from them. The teacher reminded us, there's only half a day left to finalize your college applications. Please review everything carefully. If any of you still haven't made up your minds, feel free to come talk to me one-on-one for advice. After that, we were allowed to move around freely. I was listening to Leah talk about a weird cucumber dish she tried when I felt a cold pudding cup gently tap the top of my head. "Lily, come outside for a second." I turned and met Ethan's eyes for a split second. I immediately looked away and didn't respond. Instead, I turned back to Leah, continuing our conversation. Ethan grabbed my shoulder and spun me around to face him. "Lily," he said, "what's your deal this time? I'm seriously tired of this. It's always the same, fighting, ignoring each other, sulking. We're about to start college. Can you not be so childish?" Forced into facing him, I snapped back. "Yeah, it is childish. It's boring. So do us both a favor and stop trying to make up with me." We locked eyes for a few seconds before Ethan gave an irritated snort. "Whatever. I'm not wasting my energy on someone this petty. Cry all you want later tonight. I don't care." I turned my face away, refusing to look at him again. I thought he had finally left, but then Ethan suddenly turned my head back with both hands, looking at me seriously. "Today's the last day to submit your application. Double-check everything, all right? Don't mess it up." He looked like he wanted to say more, but just then, Summer walked up carrying her laptop in her arms. "Ethan, there's a little problem with my application. Can you come take a look at it?" Ethan nodded. As he got up to go with her, he reached out and gave my cheek a little pinch, just like he used to, and reminded me one more time. "Why didn't you bring your laptop? Go use the computer lab later and check your application one last time. This stuff matters. Don't treat it lightly." I laughed bitterly to myself. Ethan probably thought that just because he reminded me, I'd go check the system, notice something was wrong, and instinctively change my application to match his. But of course, he wouldn't just tell me directly. That would mean dealing with me, someone difficult, and explaining himself, which would take effort. And that's just too tiring, right? Good thing I'd already made up my mind. I wasn't going back. Glancing at Ethan, who was now focused on helping Summer with her application, I grabbed Leah and left the classroom. We were about to call a cab home when Leah noticed I was upset and insisted on dragging me to one of her girlfriend's birthday parties. I didn't have the energy to argue, so I went along. After dinner, they pulled me into a newly opened bar nearby. When we got there, I realized Ethan's group was having their own gathering at the same place. There was some overlap between the two groups, so everyone ended up joining into one big private room. When Ethan saw me, his expression turned a little awkward, but he didn't say anything. He didn't even greet me. I ignored him completely. While heading to the restroom, I overheard Ethan talking with one of his friends around the corner. His friend was advising him, "You should just be up front with her. Otherwise, it's gonna be tough for a girl to move all the way out to the northeast by herself." But Ethan didn't seem concerned at all. "Relax, I already reminded her several times. She definitely changed it by now. She's probably just pissed because I didn't tell her beforehand." Before I could move, the two of them turned the corner and spotted me. Ethan gave his friend a look, silently signaling him to go on ahead, then quickly blocked me in the hallway. "Lily, let's talk." I rolled my eyes at him and turned to walk away. But before I could even take a full step, he grabbed me and pulled me back, trapping me against the wall. The faint smell of alcohol clung to him. I instinctively turned my head away. We stood there for a moment, face to face. Ethan finally caved first, letting out a sigh. "Still mad?" he asked. "I was gonna text you this afternoon to come to the bar, but you blocked me, so I couldn't send anything. Then in the classroom, you pissed me off so much I totally forgot, okay? Don't be mad anymore, seriously. Where do you get all this energy to stay mad all day?" "Oh, right, you checked your application already, right?" I didn't respond. My face stayed blank, and I kept my head down, refusing to speak. The tension was thick between us, and just when Ethan opened his mouth again to say something else, Summer's voice suddenly cut in behind him. "Ethan, Mason's looking for you to have a drink." Of course. Sometimes I really wondered if Summer had some kind of surveillance on him. Every single time Ethan and I were alone and about to talk, she would show up without fail. But I had no desire to deal with either of them. Taking advantage of the moment Ethan turned his head, I slipped out from under his arm and walked past him. As I passed Summer, she grabbed my wrist tightly. "I'm really sorry, Lily," she said. "I didn't mean to interrupt you two. You've been upset all day and Ethan's been in a bad mood too. I didn't say a word." Her grip hurt and I had to yank hard to break free. Summer stumbled a little, her face flushing with emotion as tears welled up in her eyes. "Ethan, is Lily still mad?" she said softly. "Is it because I joined your group hangout? I'll apologize, okay? Please don't fight because of me." She stepped in front of me as if she were about to bow in apology. That's when Ethan snapped. He immediately turned and stopped her. "Summer, you don't have to apologize. She's just being a drama queen." Then he turned to me, frowning. "Lily, why are you pushing people? You should be the one apologizing to Summer. We're all going to the same college. It wouldn't hurt to get along. At least we could look out for each other." "Oh, you love looking out for people, huh?" I said, voice sharp. "Well, you two can take care of each other as much as you want." With that, I stormed out of the bar, fuming. Behind me, I heard Ethan's frustrated warning. "Lily, that's enough." It was a long while before Ethan and Summer came back to the private room. Ethan's face looked tight and stiff, while Summer had already recovered and was back to her delicate, demure self. Aside from Leah, everyone else seemed to think their extended absence was full of juicy secrets. They started teasing and making jokes, deliberately creating flirtatious situations between Ethan and Summer during a game of truth or dare. Even Ethan's childhood friends joined in, completely ignoring whether I might feel embarrassed or upset. Well, of course. To them, I was just the loyal puppy girl who followed Ethan around, wasn't I? When Summer drew a dare that told her to do a close contact dance with any guy present, she immediately locked eyes with Ethan. Ethan glanced at me, then casually agreed to partner up, like it was nothing. If this had been before, I would have jumped up, furious, and stopped them right away. But now, I didn't react at all. Summer had been part of the school's street dance club and had a curvy figure to match. She knew how to dance, sexy and confident. I silently downed a full can of beer and watched her begin a sultry K-pop routine, dancing right up against Ethan. His lips curled in a subtle, unreadable smile. At first, he kept glancing in my direction, like he was waiting for me to tell him to stop. But as Summer moved in closer and closer, he was completely focused now, his back straight, his eyes locked solely on Summer's figure. The tension between them was almost electric. As the dance reached its climax, Summer stumbled slightly and fell directly into Ethan's lap. She was wearing a tight-fit skirt that evening, and the way she landed, right on top of him, put them in an intimately suggestive position. Their bodies pressed close together in an embrace that looked anything but accidental. The room erupted with cheers and whistles. So loud it felt like the roof might blow off. Summer's face turned bright red, as if she wanted to disappear into the floor. Ethan muttered something like, "Cut it out, you guys," but his hands didn't let go. Instead, he gently pressed Summer's face against his chest, shielding her from the other's stares. That kind of instinctive intimacy, the kind that used to belong only to me, hit me harder than I expected. I had already told myself to give up. I thought I was ready. But seeing it with my own eyes, the ache in my chest was instant and sharp. I couldn't take it anymore. I finished my last sip of beer, got up, and quietly left the room. Leah came out after me, unable to stomach it either. We stood by the side of the road while she ranted on my behalf, angry for me. She had held it in all night, wanting more than once to call Ethan out, but I had stopped her every time. There was no point ruining the mood. After all, we were just strangers from now on. I had no idea what kind of chaos they stirred up after we left. I just felt tired. Like none of it mattered anymore. When I got home, it was exactly 11:55 p.m., only 5 minutes left before the college application deadline. I was completely drained, collapsed on my bed with my eyes closed. Deep down, I couldn't deny the disappointment. Over a decade of feelings, how could I just let them go like that? Right then, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. When I picked up, it was Ethan, drunk. His voice had a rare softness to it, almost a seductive coaxing I'd never heard before. "Lily, don't be mad anymore, okay? Be good. Remember to change your application. Xiamen's nice, faces the ocean. I'll go with you to take beach photos. How about that?" Maybe it was the alcohol talking, but Ethan sounded unusually gentle. In the past, whenever I was upset, even if he lowered his pride to patch things up, his tone always carried a half-joking threat. "Lily, stop pouting. Keep this up, and I won't take you to Disneyland." And I'd always forgive him, playing along just like that. Because when you really like someone, how could you bear to truly ruin things? But the more different he was tonight, the more it hurt. He kept talking. "Say something, Lily. Lil, didn't you always say you wanted a beach vacation? I heard the new campus is right by the water. You'll love it. Honestly, Harbin's way too far, and the winters are brutal. You hate the cold, you'll just end up crying all the time. But hey, if you really want to go, I'll take you during winter break. We'll go to the ice and snow world, just the two of us." Ethan rambled on, as if trying to convince me, or maybe himself, that switching to Xiamen University was somehow for my sake. That he was thinking of me. I listened in silence for a while. Eventually, I couldn't hold back and asked quietly, my voice cracking without me realizing. "Ethan, don't you have something you want to tell me?" I think deep down, I was hoping. If he could just admit it now, be honest about what he did, then maybe, just maybe, we could still remain ordinary friends. But if he still chose to dodge it, then there was really nothing left between us. There was only a short pause on the other end before he answered vaguely. "Didn't you already figure it out? Why even ask? You've been mad at me all day just for this? What kind of petty girl are you? Come on, it's all good colleges. The major was your own choice. As long as we're together, it doesn't matter where we go." Ethan kept talking, saying more and more. But still, he never addressed the one thing that actually mattered. I didn't even want to hear the rest. That was the last chance, and it was gone. Before Ethan could finish, I hung up on him, turned off my phone, and glanced at the clock. The second hand had just passed midnight. No more chances to go back. Maybe that was for the best. We all choose our own paths. I turned off the light and lay flat on my bed, forcing myself to sleep. But the moment I closed my eyes, my mind filled with nothing but Ethan, his laughter, his anger, his silly moments, his sadness. All kinds of Ethan. We grew up together, childish and inseparable. Every memory I had included him. I never imagined things would end like this. People are always more vulnerable at night, then force themselves to be strong again in the daylight. I didn't even notice when my tears soaked the pillow. At some point, I drifted off in a daze. When I woke up again, it was already noon the next day. I turned on my phone and saw a bunch of missed calls and texts from unfamiliar numbers, all from Ethan. I ignored them. WeChat was buzzing too. Leah had added me to a small group chat with her girlfriends. People were tagging everyone and gossiping like crazy. I opened the chat to see what it was about. One of the girls had posted a screenshot of a social media post around 1 a.m. Everyone in the group was freaking out. OMG, the campus queen made it official in the middle of the night? Another couple announced right after the college entrance exam. Only a rich girl like her could pull this off. That watch alone must cost thousands. The vibe is wild, but yeah, exams are over, time to go crazy. It was a screenshot of Summer's post. Out of habit, I tapped to view the photo. On a crisp white hotel bed lay a boy, face half turned in profile, Ethan. Even though the picture only showed about a quarter of his face, I recognized him instantly. My heart clenched before I even realized it. But what really made me freeze was the caption Summer had written. "I walked 99 steps toward you with nothing but courage. I'm just glad you finally took the last step toward me. This moment is happiness." The post was filled with likes and flirty comments. Summer replied to many of them, and every response was equally suggestive. Most of Ethan's close friends had liked the post too. I felt my heart sink. So they really had taken that step. Last night, while Ethan was calling me softly, trying to convince me to change my application, he was already tangled up with someone else. what a performance. Once again, my emotions plunged. But at the same time, I felt a little lucky. At least I hadn't followed him and changed my college plans. If I had, I'd be nothing but a clown for the next 4 years. I shut off the screen, forced myself to stop thinking about Ethan and Summer. I was still zoning out when the doorbell rang. And when I opened the door, it was Ethan. There was a trace of wariness in his eyes. He was holding a box from my favorite dessert shop. I stood frozen in the doorway, making no move to let him in. But he acted like he owned the place, gently nudging past me and heading straight into the living room. He walked over to the dining table, set the dessert down, and reached out, instinctively trying to ruffle my hair like he always used to. I stepped back to avoid him. "Wow, Lily, you've been getting real temperamental lately," he muttered. "I sent you so many messages, and you didn't answer any of them. You aren't going to wait until I go on vacation without you and come crying after me, were you?" He carefully unwrapped the little cakes, cut them into pieces, and brought a plate to me. "Come on, don't be mad anymore. I took a cab half an hour this morning just to get these for you. I know you've been craving them. Eat, then we'll figure out where to travel next." I didn't take the plate. Ethan gave a small, bitter laugh and tried to feed me with a fork. I quietly took another step back. "All right, Your Highness," he sighed. "If you don't want to eat, we won't. You've always wanted to visit Xinjiang, right? But we never had enough time off. Well, now it's summer. Perfect chance for a spontaneous trip. I've already talked to Mason and the others. We've booked 2 cars. Just the 2 of us would be boring anyway. It's only fun with more people." I shook my head and refused. "I'm not going. You go without me. I'm heading out soon anyway, so please leave." Ethan froze for a second, then let out a helpless sigh. "Why, you've been talking about this trip for years. Are you seriously skipping it just to be stubborn?" He set down the cake and reached out to pull me into a hug. I stepped away, but wasn't quick enough. He snatched my phone with his other hand. "Come on, can you stop with this already?" he said. "I drank too much last night and didn't sleep well. I still woke up early to come cheer you up. I'm seriously exhausted." "No one asked you to cheer me up," I shot back. "I don't need you to cheer me up, Ethan, and you never really do." "Then tell me why you suddenly don't want to go." I stared at him. "If you actually cared about what I wanted, you would have asked me before planning everything. You already made the itinerary and then came to ask me. Let's be real. Me not going should be perfect for you. Summer will definitely be there. Why do you even want me along? So I can witness how happy you 2 are together?" Ethan let out a long breath, the kind that meant he'd just run out of patience. "Yes, Summer is going. She really wants to go to Xinjiang too, but she's not the only girl coming. Besides the 2 of you, Fatty's girlfriend is coming too. Why are you so fixated on Summer? What did she ever do to you?" "She didn't do anything. Her family's a mess. She hasn't traveled in years. The college entrance exam is finally over. She's paying her own way to come along. What's wrong with that? Xinjiang's huge. Don't tell me there's no space for one more person." He sounded completely worn out, not even thinking before he spoke. His words made my chest burn with anger. I nodded slowly, forcing a smile. "Sure, go with whoever you want. I'm not going." Ethan's temper flared. "Lily, this is the last time. I've given you so many chances to back down. Keep this up, and it's really over. I already bought your plane ticket. Tomorrow morning we're meeting at the airport. Come or don't, your choice." He slammed my phone down on the table and stormed out. I didn't stop him. I followed him to the door, and as soon as he stepped out, I shut it behind him. His face, just before I closed the door, was dark as a storm cloud. Even then, he didn't forget to lecture me. "With that nasty temper of yours, how are you going to get along with your dorm-mates in college?" I shut the door mid-sentence. Back in the living room, I angrily threw the cake Ethan brought into the trash. Who wanted that stupid cake anyway? Who wanted to go on a trip with him in summer? Even the way he tried to play both sides, acting all humble between the childhood sweetheart and the new girl, was just laughable to me now. I sat on the sofa, still fuming. To keep myself from sinking deeper into bitterness, I made a decision. I would go on a trip too. They say it only takes 21 days to build a habit. So maybe, to break one, all I need is 21 days as well. My mom didn't feel safe letting me travel abroad alone, so she agreed to let me stay with my aunt in Hainan for a while. I had already submitted my college application. There wasn't anything urgent to worry about. I packed lightly and booked a direct flight to Sanya for that same night. By 10 p.m., I was already at my aunt's seaside villa, grilling fresh seafood and enjoying the warm ocean breeze. The sizzling sound of barbecue and the salty, smoky aroma made everything feel a little lighter. I couldn't help myself. I posted a picture on social media. Midnight indulgence. Leah and the others were jealous for hours after. They all said they'd come visit me in a few days. The next morning, my cousin woke me up, calling my name non-stop. I groggily opened my eyes and saw the blazing sun outside the window. "You know someone's been calling like crazy?" "Guess who?" she said. "It's your handsome childhood friend." She handed me the phone. Still half asleep, I picked up the call before I'd fully registered what was happening. Sure enough, it was Ethan. "Lily, everyone else is already at the gate. You're the only one missing. Boarding starts in half an hour. Where are you? And why'd you block me again? Your mom said you were staying with your cousin. Did she come back to Who City?" He sounded frantic. I finally came to my senses and calmly replied, "No. I came to her place. In Sanya." Ethan's voice turned sharp with irritation. "Come on, this isn't funny. You were literally still at home yesterday. If you leave now, you can still make it in time. I already told you I wasn't going with you. Don't waste your time waiting." The line went silent. Then I heard a girl's voice whispering near him. "Lily really is in Sanya. She posted about it last night, my friend showed me. If it weren't for Summer's little reminder, I might have forgotten." Ethan couldn't see my posts anymore. "Well, now you believe it," I said coldly. Ethan didn't say another word. Just as I was about to hang up, I heard him grit out, "Lily, don't regret this." Oh, I did regret it. I regretted not coming here for vacation sooner. The exhaustion of senior year seemed to melt away in the past few days, thanks to the sunshine, the ocean breeze, coconuts, and endless grilled seafood. When my cousin found out what had happened with Ethan, she was furious and immediately started trying to set me up with every hot guy she knew. Every day she dragged me somewhere new to have fun. Since it was rainy season in Sanya, the crowds weren't bad and the weather was surprisingly pleasant. We chased crabs on the beach, took photos, went diving, sailed, fished, splashed around at a water park, even tried sea bungee jumping. Every day was so full, I collapsed into bed and fell asleep the moment my head hit the pillow. I didn't even have time to think about Ethan or Summer. They seemed to be enjoying themselves too. In the girls' group chat, someone was constantly sharing pictures from their road trip. I had been avoiding looking at them until one day, when my cousin finally wore herself out and let me have a break. I was scrolling on my phone and accidentally tapped a photo. Ethan's group had visited a ton of places. Every scenic spot had group shots, bursting with youthful energy. But in nearly every photo, there were repeated shots of Ethan and Summer. Just the two of them, centered perfectly in the middle of Summer's carefully curated 9-grid Instagram posts, impossible to miss. The rolling grasslands, the endless blue lakes, towering snow-capped mountains in the distance. And always, Ethan and Summer, standing together. They were all places I'd dreamed of seeing with him, places we had once planned to visit together. But now, someone else was standing there with him. And suddenly, I realized no one is truly irreplaceable. My cousin noticed I was getting gloomy again and scolded me. "Seriously? You're still moping over a few pictures? Anyone can take photos and use filters. Didn't I tell you? You never cared enough about your looks. Wait till college. Once you put in some effort, you'll have those South U boys wrapped around your finger. By then, you won't even remember that childhood friend of yours." From that day on, my cousin dragged me into full-on makeover mode. She took tons of beautiful photos of me and practically forced me to post them. Once I shed my oversized school uniform, I wore flowy beach dresses she'd picked out for me. My thick black-rimmed glasses were replaced with contacts. She taught me how to apply makeup and even booked me appointments to get my hair permed and my nails done, essential graduation glow-up activities, apparently. After her thorough transformation plan, I barely recognized the girl in the mirror. The quiet nerd who used to bury her nose in textbooks was gone, In her place was someone who looked like the stylish influencers I used to admire online. Even my mom teared up when she saw my photos and whispered, half laughing, half sobbing, "My little girl's all grown up." My social feed blew up. Classmates left dozens of comments and likes, saying how much I had changed. Some even reposted my pictures into our class group chat. Reading all the compliments and reactions, I felt a little embarrassed but grateful. After thinking for a while, I replied modestly in the chat, "You're too kind. It's all filters, really." At the same time, one of Summer's close friends commented in the class group, "Lily, your editing skills are amazing. Can you teach us sometime?" Our replies showed up side by side. The class group chat went quiet for a moment. Leah couldn't take it anymore. She posted the original live photo I had shared with her. That set off an even bigger reaction. My classmates were more stunned than ever. Even our teacher popped in to leave a comment. So the class rep's beauty was just hidden under the school uniform all along. Who would have thought? Total artsy goddess vibes. Lily's natural look is already gorgeous. Makeup just makes her even more photogenic. Her looks were totally buried under study stress. Otherwise, our class would have had two school legends. The classmate who had taken a jab at me earlier didn't say another word, but one of Summer's other friends jumped in with a passive-aggressive comment. Even live photos can be edited these days. I didn't even have to respond. Plenty of classmates spoke up on my behalf. Ethan and Summer, on the other hand, stayed silent in the group chat. But starting that day, Ethan stopped posting about his trip altogether. Not long after, my mom gave me the news. I'd been accepted into the aerospace program at Harbin Institute of Technology. I cried tears of joy for a long, long time. All those years of effort had finally paid off. But then she told me something else. Grandma was sick, and I needed to come home to see her. When I landed at the airport in Sioux City the next day, rushing back unexpectedly, I ran right into Ethan and his group. Apparently, they were supposed to be on a 1-month trip. But for some reason, they'd ended it 2 weeks early. When our eyes met, Ethan looked stunned. Even Summer froze for a few seconds. We locked eyes stiffly for a moment. Just as I started walking past them, Ethan finally snapped out of it and called out to me. "Lily, you're back today too?" His eyes couldn't hide the surprise. Before he could stop himself, he blurted, "I almost didn't recognize you. You actually look really good." "Thanks," I replied. It was the first time I'd been apart from Ethan for more than a week, but strangely, I felt nothing. I didn't feel like making small talk. I just grabbed my suitcase and hurried toward the exit. My mom was waiting for me right outside. As soon as she took my suitcase, Ethan's voice rang out again behind us. He had followed me. "Lily, why are you in such a rush?" He nodded at my mom. "Hi, Auntie. Lily, you must have received your acceptance letter too, right? My parents insisted I come back for the graduation banquet. Don't forget, we agreed that both families would host it together." My mom didn't reply immediately. She glanced at me. My silence and unhappy expressions said it all. So she stepped forward and answered for me, politely but firmly. "Ethan, Lily's not planning to hold a banquet anymore. My work's hectic, and her grandma's been ill. Things at home are a bit too overwhelming right now. Once things settle down, we'll just have a small family dinner to celebrate. But please thank your parents for the kind offer." My mom had handled it gracefully. She only knew that Ethan and I had fought, and that he'd changed his college application without telling me. I never explained the details, but she had been quietly angry too, felt he'd treated his future too lightly. Ethan scratched his nose awkwardly and asked how Grandma was doing. Mom gave a vague answer and gently declined his offer to share a ride home. Then she took me by the hand and led us away. That day I went to the hospital to visit Grandma. The doctor said her condition required a transfer to a better hospital in Beijing for surgery, and the arrangements were already made. I volunteered to go with her and help take care of her there. Ever since Dad passed away 8 years ago, Mom had been managing the company alone. She was already exhausted. I hadn't been able to help much before, so now, with time off, this was at least something I could do. That same day, I flew to Beijing with Grandma. Naturally, I didn't attend Ethan's graduation banquet, and even if I had stayed in town, I wouldn't have gone. That night, during the banquet, Ethan's mood was clearly off. Someone said he kept stepping away to make phone calls. At first, he was asking where I was. Then, after calling multiple times and realizing I wasn't just late, I wasn't coming at all, he got furious. Even his mom eventually realized something was wrong. She called me, trying to sound casual. "Lily, did you and Ethan have a fight? You haven't dropped by since you got back from the beach. Are you mad at me too? When you're back, I'll help scold that brat for you, okay? Don't stay mad. You two still have to go to Xiamen together for college. I already got you a full set of skincare, sunscreen, and dorm supplies. I'm not mad, but that won't be necessary, Auntie," I said. "My mom's already taken care of everything. There's really something going on at home. I'm not in Hu City right now." I was still explaining when suddenly the phone was snatched out of her hands by Ethan. "Lily, you're unbelievable," he growled. "You missed one of the most important moments of my life and came up with some half-baked excuse. What is that supposed to mean? We've known each other for 18 years, not 18 months, not 18 days. Don't you get that?" At the time, I had just left Grandma's hospital room, completely exhausted and heading back to the hotel. "Congrats, Ethan," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You got everything you wanted, but I really can't make it. Things at home." Before I could finish, he snapped. "You've been mad long enough, haven't you? How many days has it been? How many times have I tried to make peace with you? Do you know how much you've been ruining my mood? I couldn't even enjoy the trip because of you. Are you planning to stay mad until we start college? When that time comes, who's going to help you move those giant suitcases? You think I'll be there for that?" I gave a dry, emotionless reply. Whatever. But in my mind, I remembered the Hittite freshman group chat, where several upperclassmen had already offered to help new students move in. I didn't see Ethan's name among them, and the sky didn't fall. Still stewing in his misplaced rage, Ethan hung up. A minute later, I got a text from an unfamiliar number. "Lily, if you've got guts, don't come crying to me when someone else starts chasing me at college." I rolled my eyes, deleted the message, blocked the number, and went back to caring for Grandma. The school released the official honor roll with everyone's admission details. I didn't return to school. Leah told me that Ethan didn't go back either. The day after his banquet, his dad took him out of town to start some early internship at the family company. Then, for some reason, Ethan left the class group chat too. I guess that was his way of making a clean break. And maybe that was for the best. Grandma's treatment in Beijing went smoothly. By the time I was about to leave for college, she was stable and had been safely transferred back to Hu City. I stayed home just one night. My mom had already packed all my luggage for me. The next morning, she personally drove me to school for move-in day. I never saw Ethan. Turns out college wasn't scary at all. The moment we unloaded my mountain of luggage, a group of enthusiastic upperclassmen rushed over and carried everything to my dorm. The girls in my room, all from the Northeast, were incredibly friendly. Our entire major's female cohort ended up in the same dorm. Within 3 days, they'd already taken me all over campus for food tours and photo ops. I thought I wouldn't be able to adjust to northern food, but it was surprisingly delicious. They even took me to the communal bathhouse on the first night. After seeing each other completely exposed, we bonded faster than I expected. As I was quickly settling into college life, I received my third confession letter just as military training started. And that's when Ethan suddenly called me again. "Lily, I went to your place yesterday, wanted to head to school together. Your mom said you already left, but now that I'm here, I can't seem to find your class. What's going on? Which campus are you at?" I suddenly didn't know how to answer. After all this time, he still hadn't realized that I never changed my application to Xiamen. "It's not a campus issue," I said, unable to hold back the sarcasm. "It's that I'm not even in the same school as you, Ethan." He was silent for a moment, like I had just punched the air out of him. "That's not possible. What kind of joke is this?" Ethan's voice cracked. "Don't be mad anymore, okay? Fine, I'll apologize. I admit I was wrong, all right?" Ethan's tone softened quickly. "Just come down to the girls' dorm. My mom brought a bunch of stuff for you, including your favorite snacks. Don't blame me for eating them all alone. I couldn't help it." I took a deep breath and decided it was time to make everything clear, once and for all. Ethan, I think you really don't get it. My application never changed. I've always had Harbin Institute of Technology listed as my top choice, specifically aerospace engineering. You knew that. I've talked about it for years. Why would I suddenly switch to Xiamen? Just then, one of my roommates called out behind me, "Hey girl, let's get gubaoru for lunch today." The strong northeastern accent in her voice finally made Ethan panic. He stammered like a broken tape recorder. You're kidding, right, roommate? That's not. No way. You knew I changed my application. There's no way you didn't change yours too. How could you go all the way to Harbin alone? You hate the cold. I sighed. I'm not kidding, Ethan. You didn't even ask me when you changed your choice. You just assumed I'd follow you, and you did it for someone else. If I had followed you, wouldn't that have made me incredibly pathetic? Ethan scrambled to explain. But that night, I asked you, didn't I? You said you knew. How could you not have changed with me? He hesitated, then added quickly, was it because of Summer? I swear I just felt bad for her. She was crying about being afraid to go to a new city alone. You know her hometown's in Fujian, right? But ever since what happened with her dad, she hasn't gone back. And she's an art student. She didn't have many options. That college was the best she could hope for. She's not like you, she doesn't have your grades. Ethan was rambling at this point, his voice anxious and defensive, but the only thing I heard was, her. Even now, he only saw everything from Summer's perspective. He hadn't stopped to think about me for even a second. Yes, Summer's father had gone to prison for corruption. Even though he divorced her mother before it happened, they'd still faced judgment in their hometown. Eventually, her mother brought her to Hu City for a fresh start. She was just a child then. I get that. What happened wasn't her fault, but it wasn't mine either. So why was I expected to carry that weight for her? Ethan, I said quietly, if she matters that much to you, then congratulations, you got what you wanted. You two can go your way, and I'll go mine. We were just friends anyway. We don't have to keep walking the same path. Please don't contact me again. I hung up, took a deep breath, and didn't even have time to feel sad. My roommates were already dragging me off to the cafeteria. I thought that would be the end of it. We were now separated by thousands of miles, north and south, and even more distance layered in between. The kind that came from hurt you couldn't erase. But the next night, Ethan showed up in front of me. I wasn't alone. Standing next to me was a tall, awkward guy from my class. He was handsome, well known around campus. His name had appeared on the campus confession wall more than a few times. He had been sneaking glances at me all through dinner. I'd been about to ask if he needed something, when he suddenly spoke up. Lily, I was the one who sent you those 3 letters. You never replied, but I still think you're really pretty. Like, really pretty. I want to be serious about dating you. Like, for real serious. Then, red-faced, he scratched his head and shoved a 4th letter into my hands, before dashing away like he was on fire. I stood there stunned, just opening the letter when I felt a presence behind me. I turned around to see Ethan standing there, looking worn out and distant. Maybe it was the exhaustion from traveling, but there was a noticeable wariness in his expression. Still, the white button-up shirt he wore was perfectly crisp, tucked into tailored dark slacks. He looked polished and put together, like the campus golden boy he always had been. The formal outfit and the laptop in his hand made it clear he had come straight from some event or business setting. And then, just like that, he had shown up here. And I couldn't help but falter for a second. I have something I want to talk to you about, Ethan said cautiously, almost like he was afraid I'd shut him down. Can we sit and talk somewhere? There's a class meeting later tonight, I replied calmly. Just say it here. I knew that since Ethan had chased me all this way, he wouldn't leave without saying his piece. But I didn't expect his first words to be, "You've only known that guy for a few days, and he's already confessing? He's clearly not serious." Guys who only care about looks, stay away from them. I let out a cold laugh. So you came all this way just to talk about that? What does any of this have to do with you? Am I not allowed to make new friends unless I stay loyal to old ones? Ethan flinched a little. When he spoke again, his tone was much more composed. Lily, I don't know why you didn't change your application with me, but I'm sorry. I was overconfident. I just assumed you'd follow me, no matter where I went. I cut him off. Stop, don't project your assumptions onto me and call it destiny. You're the one who changed, not me. He grew more emotional. But before, no matter where I applied, you always followed. You had my login info for your application system. Why didn't you change with me this time? He grabbed my arm, not roughly but with stubborn insistence. Then why didn't you just tell me directly that you wanted to go somewhere else? Did you think I wouldn't let you? Why test me like that? Is messing with someone's future that fun for you? I looked him straight in the eye. Isn't that exactly what you did? No, that's not what I meant, he stammered. I was just too confident in what we had. Don't you remember? That night I kissed you, you didn't push me away. I thought once we started college I'd confess to you properly. I even imagined that after graduation we'd go back to Who City and get married. There was never anyone else. Summer, she was just me being petty. I only used her to get a reaction out of you. By the end, his voice had grown hoarse, his eyes slightly red. I pulled my arm away. But you never once stopped to think about how I felt. That's when I realized, you don't understand me at all. You don't even know why I chose this school. You probably assumed I applied just because you were going there. But it was never just about you. You know, my dad died in an aircraft test accident. I asked you so many times before, what is it about space that's worth risking everything? Even back then, I desperately wanted to understand it myself. The more I missed him, the more I wanted to know why he made that choice. Did you really think I would give up that dream? Just because of you? Ethan froze. But you never told me any of this. I gave a small, sad smile. He had no idea that those seemingly casual questions I'd asked him weren't just curiosity. They were seeded by grief, and they were also the spark that pushed me to carry on my father's dream. All the studying, the sacrifices, they were never just for Ethan. I told him a lot that day. I told him that I needed to give a proper end to our story, to the youth we shared. I'm still grateful, Ethan, I said. Back when my dad passed, you were there during the hardest times, and when my mom was too busy running the company, your parents treated me like family. But from the moment you made that decision without me, from the moment you threw away our plans, we were already over. Later that night, it started raining. My roommate came back and told me there was a guy downstairs who looked completely heartbroken, standing in the downpour like he was waiting for someone. I didn't say anything. I didn't try to talk him down. Ethan stood outside our dorm in the pouring rain the entire night. He didn't leave until sunrise. What I didn't expect was that he wouldn't return to Xiamen after that. Instead, he went straight back home to Hu City. A few days later, I got a call from his mom. Lily, she said, can you please talk to Ethan? Ever since he got back from Harbin, he's been sick. Fever hit 102 degrees Fahrenheit. He refuses to go to the hospital, won't take any medicine. He's finally a bit better today, but now he says he's not going back to school at all. He wants to drop out and take the college entrance exam again, just so he can get into your school. I felt a wave of frustration and a pounding headache, but I didn't hesitate for even a second. That's not going to happen, Auntie, I said firmly. I won't wait for him. I've already planned out my college life. I won't stop or waste any more time. Please tell him to stop doing stupid things. If he doesn't, I'll only lose even more respect for him. I heard something drop to the floor on the other end of the call. Later, I heard that Ethan eventually went back to school after all. His grandparents were the ones who finally convinced him. But I also heard he planned to apply to grad school in Harbin, just so he could be near me. Every time there was a break, he would fly from Xiamen to Harbin just to see me, even if I ignored him. He'd still come, stay far away, and quietly leave me gifts I used to like. But by winter break, I was already seeing someone. It was the guy who always looked like a tough guy around others, but turned into a puppy around me, my classmate, Josh. He had sent me 99 love letters. In the end, I just couldn't turn him down anymore. Besides, he had great abs. His letters often came with carefully angled photos showing off just enough of them to make my roommates squeal. They kept joking that Josh was definitely the real deal, and after that day, Ethan saw him carrying me down the giant snowy slide. He completely vanished from my life. After that, I barely heard anything about Ethan anymore. My mom moved our family out of our old neighborhood. Years passed. I eventually became a flight systems engineer, just like I dreamed. Josh stayed by my side the whole time. We entered a top aerospace lab together. Now, when I look back on those days from my youth, they seem like such small, faraway things. What lies ahead is an infinite sky full of stars waiting for me to explore.